The most important thing in becoming successful in the multifamily real estate business is understanding your market. If you've heard me speak, you have heard me preach this message over and over and over again, and I can't overemphasize it enough. I am super excited to share this video, another video in our series Multifamily Deep Dive. This video talks a lot about how to prepare for that rent comp visit. So one of the things that I want you to do is to go around the neighborhood and visit the properties that are comparable to yours, and I want you to visit the properties that are nicer than yours. And in doing so, you've got to do some prep work. So take a look at the video. I give you a number of things that you should think about and plan out before you actually go visit the properties, so that you increase the chance that you'll get the information that you need when you tour them. I hope you enjoy the video. All right, so when we talked last time, I think we wrapped up with when you're actually touring with the broker, right? We talked about on the way out the door, shake his hand, shake the leasing agent, property manager's hand, thank them so much for their time, sort of close out. Okay, just remind me, man, where do I need to be? Anything new? What do I need to do to get this deal? Just anything else, and then say, okay, I'm headed out of here. You want me to look at those demand drivers? I should turn right. Let me just make sure I understand where to go. Right now, he just knows you're taking it seriously. Plus, you're just getting good information. So now you're going to go tour rent comps. Now, this is the part, and most people don't want to do this because they just don't see the value in it. But I'm telling you, it's really, really, really valuable. You're going to do this after you tour because you're there. I mean, why the hell wouldn't you do it when you're there? Don't make it another trip. So the first thing you want to do is you want to think about your story, right? Before you roll up on a property that you're going to tour, you got to figure out, okay, you got to have a story, right? You can't say, hey, I'm thinking about buying the property next door. Can I look at yours? It's just not probably going to go well. And the broker probably wouldn't appreciate it if you did that. So you have to make up a story. Are you old enough to have kids that might be looking for an apartment? Hey, I'm looking for my son, my daughter. I'm moving from wherever, and I'm going to pick someplace that, nearby that is going to be respectable enough that they're going to say, oh, this person's a legitimate possible applicant. So you want to figure out that story, because you got to make it your shopping, right? Your mystery shopping, secret shopping, whatever you want to call it. That's what you're doing. And you want to get good information, and you want them to pay attention to you. If they don't think you're a real lead, they're not going to pay attention to you. If you say, I'm buying the property next door, can you tell me about yours? Just say, here's the brochure, get out of here. They probably won't even tour you because they're busy. They don't want to waste their time. Let them know that you're flexible on a 1 or a 2 bedroom, and the same with move-in date. I know you're like, seriously, Ken, you're thinking about these things? I am, because here's what happens. The first thing that leasing agent's going to do is they're going to call you, or they're going to ask you, what are you looking for? When are you looking to move? Those are questions that they've been trained to ask. And if you say, oh, I'm looking for a 1 bedroom, well, now there's no chance you're going to see a 3 bedroom. None whatsoever. So you want to have some flexibility to say, you know what, I'm probably looking for a 2 bedroom, but I might, I might want a 3rd bedroom to use as an office, right? So you're kind of giving them, hey, I want to look at more than one type of unit, right? Because you want to get a look around. The other thing is your move-in date should be flexible. Why? Because if you say, I'm going to move in on September 30th, they're going to look at their sheet and say, what's coming up September 30th? Oh, all I've got is a studio. Here, I'll show you a studio, and you're screwed because you don't get to see the units you want to see. So you tell them, hey, I'm not sure what my start date is if you're making up a story about living there or moving to a new job there. I'm not sure what my move-in dates, my start date's going to be. I'm kind of flexible there. They'll put me in a hotel for 30 days if I need to find a place. So, my move-in date's probably plus or minus 60 to 90 days. So now you've opened up maximum flexibility so that they'll look at their availability report differently for you. And that maximizes the chance that you're going to see more units. And again, you only figure this out after you do this a few times, and you're like, damn, I wish I could have seen another unit there. But you can't, once you do that, you can't break the rules. Now, what they're going to ask you for before they tour you, they want ID. They're going to ask you for your ID. Can I see your driver's license? And they do that for their own safety. They're trained to do it. They have to do it every time. So whatever your story, so now you can see why the story matters. You know, if you tell them you're from California and you whip out an Ohio driver's license, they're like, dude, really? What are you doing? Right? They're trained to pick up on that kind of weird stuff because bad guys try to, you know, do bad things to leasing agents all the time, and they're trying to do whatever they can to make sure that they're going to be safe. So now here's a really weird question. Ask them about the property you're trying to buy. So as you're touring and you're walking around with that leasing agent, what are you doing? You're developing a relationship. Hey, you know, blah, whatever. You're just making small talk because you want to loosen them up a little bit. And you say, you know what? I'm looking here, but I'm also looking at that other property, whatever property that was. Do you know anything? Now, if they're professional and they're well trained, no, I don't know anything about them. I just know that they're located down the street. If they're not so professional and not so well trained, they'll be like, oh yeah, we know those people. Yeah, you know, you don't want to live there. Well, why do you say that? Oh my God, they've got drug problems. They got this. Okay, they'll just start talking, right? Give them that opportunity to talk about the property that you're really looking at, because it doesn't hurt to have the intel, right? So you'll be shocked. Most people, I'd say half the time you don't get much, half the time you get a lot of good information. So definitely worth your time. Make sure you tour the units that you can, the common areas and the amenities. Ask the leasing agent, can you take pictures? Just like before, turn off your sound so they don't hear you snapping off 50,000 pictures. But you want to tour everything. Just and be interested, like you're going to live there. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, yeah. And then maybe you ask about dogs. Oh, I got a small dog, you know, whatever. You're going to want to learn as much as you can. I would also ask the leasing agent about the area. What you don't want to do is ask the leasing agent, hey, what kind of people live here? Don't ask that question, okay? Because they can't answer it. And as soon as you ask that question, their ears perk right up. They're like, uh-oh, they know what that question is. That's a HUD checker question. That's a fair housing question. And they are now gonna, what you're gonna do is you're gonna put them on defense. And you don't want to do that because they can't answer that question. They have to say, oh, everybody lives here. We have all kinds of people. You know what I mean? Old, young, fat, skinny, whatever. They cannot answer that question specifically, because what those checkers are looking for, remember we talked about, we're going to talk about fair housing in detail, but you know, are there families here? Of course there's families. There's everybody. Everybody's here, right? They have to say that, right? Because they don't want to get in trouble. And if you like the content that we've shared here, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell. So thank you again and have a wonderful day.